So there will be investigations of certain things, and suddenly you'll see a certain basic change in how they talk about things, especially in this country. It's really one-sided, the news. The kind of news we got like 50, even 40 years ago, or even 35 years ago, is not at all like the news we have today. We have a very sterile, one-sided, in-a-box journalism with only very minor aspects that get out of that box. So most of the way to stay in tune is to use the Internet, because the Internet has really become the kind of investigative news that we used to see out of all these major newspapers. Like even the networks don't have major investigative peoples anymore because they use these quote-unquote pundits from various areas, and you get a very one-sided concept from people who are so-called experts, or to use the old Indian term for a person of great wisdom, a pundit. And I really am upset about the way this whole news system has operated. So the result is, like, for instance, just before the Iraq War, you had this drum beating going on by all the major news media that was about things that were untrue. And one little newspaper in the Midwest had come up with the truth, but it was fighting upstream, like a salmon fighting upstream, so to speak, to get the truth out. And so very few people actually got what was going on. People just believed all the crap that was coming out of the government and out of different news sources that were really not true. They were actually false.
But with the chemtrails, they're just completely ignoring it. I mean, this is so in your face on a daily basis, seeing them just fill up our skies with that canopy of haze. It just amazes me. There were a couple of weather stations, weather channels that said, oh, and the chemtrails are kind of light today. And I said, oh, thank God someone's finally using that word. But I never heard it again. So
well, they were probably talked to.
Yeah.
Even in Canada, I have heard people talking about this. They sent videos to their local TV station. Nothing happened. And then after that, they got visited by the local branch of the Air Force, and severely questioned. The whole thing is based upon fear and this need to control everything going on, and it's kind of upsetting.
Very upsetting. Let's just take a break for a second here. I just need to do a little promo for next week's show, so catch your breath. Hang on your hats, everyone. For my guest next week will be UFO lobbyist Stephen Bassett, who is arguably the nation's, if not the world's, leading advocate committed to end the 61-year-long government-imposed truth embargo regarding what we're talking about tonight, the existence of an undeniable presence of extraterrestrials and UFOs. Be sure to tune in next week. That's Thursday, September 18th from 7 to 8 p.m. as Steve Bassett shares some pretty amazing facts that have been hidden from the masses for decades. Steve also has a very important task that he wants to ask each of us to do, so save the date. Tell everyone you know. You definitely don't want to miss this show. Sheldan, we've got a few minutes left here. Let's talk about what's next. What do you see happening next, and how can we prepare for it, and what do you think the outcome is going to be here?
I think there's going to be, from what they've talked to me, another wave of people should prepare for it, of stuff that deals with the shift, which means a lot of body, mental, and physical stuff happening to our physical essence here, our bodies. And I'm also getting very confident that something big is going to happen that has to do with the removal of this government and the various funds required to bring in the announcements, which will actually change how this planet operates. So I am remaining very confident in what I hear of saying that this is very close to happening.
We're going to see a mass sighting, you think, pretty soon?
Oh, there have been a lot of mass sightings people have seen. One example of which was the Arizona Lights. There have been a lot of them over the last few years.
Well, you know, I've heard of many people they were expensive, but they've been purchasing the night vision goggles, and they say they're pretty expensive. They're around $4,000 and up, but you can see a lot when you put those on. You can actually see ships, and there was a radio host, I think it was George Norrie on Coast to Coast, was talking about witnessing a couple of ships chasing after one another and actually seeing a beam going from one ship to the other. They were in battle, I guess, So I just find that amazing. In our normal eyes, we can't see that.
Right, we can't, because most of it is cloaked at a certain energy that if you can't see brighter, in other words, you get to see, I call it the super cat vision, which is basically what this night vision is. You don't really get to see all of what's going on up there. There are secret government groups that have been attacking our ships, and there's also been doing backwards. So the process is there's a lot going on that we, under normal conditions, just do not know or understand what's going on.
Sheldon, you've got some speaking engagements coming up. Let's give a little promo for those.
Sure. This Saturday from 1 to 5, I'm going to be in Marin County at the Sunset Center in Corte Madera, and then I'm going to be in Philadelphia on the 21st of this month. And that'll also be in the afternoon, and that'll be on the campus of the University of Philadelphia, and I think it's at the International House. So you should check around and see that. And if you want the exact information, as I said, check on www.paoweb.com to see exactly what I'm talking about.
Sheldon, as always, the hour just flies by. I swear we should make these talks a bit longer, but I'm so glad that you were able to share this particular evening as we honor and remember those that have passed in September 11th, 7 years ago, and how our world has changed and where we're going from this point forward. You definitely have insight and inspiration, and I thank you once again for being on my show.
Right, thank you very much for having me again, Louise.
Oh, our pleasure, Sheldon, and I hope that we'll do this again real soon, and we'll have even more information to share, and everyone will say, finally.
Exactly, that's what I'm hoping.
And I want to thank my audience for joining us again and listening to Now That's What I'm Talking About. Good night, everybody.
All right, good night.
Good night.